Hi, my name is Hassan. I'm the creator of the Parliament and Swappy scripts, both found on aescripts.com. I'll be showcasing my latest script, Chartist, a tool for creating bar and line charts. It's a development from a template I built years ago. I wanted to eliminate the need for layer hopping to make changes, and that doesn't rely on expressions that bog down preview and render times. So let's get started. Chartist is a dockable script. It has 5 tabs: axes, bars, lines, text, and styles. Each tab has different sub-tabs to fine-tune every aspect of your charts. The main buttons are create, update, and record. So you create the charts, you have the ability to update them later on, but you need to make sure you have the comp selected, one you want to update, and record will record the settings of the comp you just created. The first tab is the Axis tab. It has 2 subtabs, Look and Add-ons. Let's create a quick chart and we'll go through the different details. This pop-up is to make sure that you have a comp selected so that once you create a chart, the pre-comp will live inside of it. The first thing to look at is the chart name, which would be the name of this pre-comp, which contains all the different layers. And all these layers are keyframed. There's no expressions here at all. The axis width is the width of the X and Y axis, the colors, and the font size of these elements. The animation style is the speed profile of your keyframes. The origin offset is the offset by which elements are moved away from the origin. In this case, it's 100 pixels. Everything shifts with it. X-axis and its elements with the Y, you can have them on and off. The axis padding will make the axis longer in pixels. There are 3 formats of the axis text. The number, which can be a year, the short name of the month and a year, and the full name of the month with a year. The minimum value is the first entry. The increment is the value we add on the entries. And in this case, because we have the month selected, it's adding 3 months on the x-axis. If the number of months crosses the year, it will automatically update. And because we don't have months selected on the y-axis, you see that will affect the number directly. The count is the number of entries on each axis, and the spacing is the distance between the entries. The axis text offset is the distance between the text and the relevant axis. The other subtab is the add-ons, which has the grid lines and the axis ticks. In the grid lines, you can change the opacity, the width, and you can have them dashed with changing the width and the gap, or even create quickly dots. The axis ticks are the pins that we can add for line graphs, and that this is the width of the pin, and that's the height, and you can change which side of the axis it can appear. In the bars tab, we have 4 subtabs: Look, Values, Groups, and Add-ons. In the Look tab, we can toggle on and off the bars, and we are creating vertical tab now. You can easily create a horizontal one. We can change the width and the roundness of the bars. At the moment, we have 1 box per bar. We can have as many as we want, and that means 3 shapes per bar. They are delayed by this number here, which is 3 frames in this instance, and the whole in animation is 1 second. It's animating out from second 15. So and the bar delay is 3 frames. So each bar starts 3 frames after the other one. We have the option of gradients, but at the moment it's restricted to 1 box. This is the normal gradient from the minimum value to the maximum height. If you press on the bound, it will create the gradient from the minimum value to the height of each bar. The animation is from the bottom and animating out to the bottom. We can change that in whichever way we want. The last thing I want to show here is the flip negative option. Now if you see, the negative options are animating from bottom to the bottom. But if you use the flip negative, it will animate them from the axis rather from the bottom. To change the values, you can go to Values tab. There are multiple ways of entering the values. So you can do it manually by actually changing values here. If you want more values, you simply go to the Y count or the X count. In this case, it is Y because we are in horizontal. If it's vertical, we go to the X count. And because I changed the Y count, you can see there's more cells to enter new input. The other two ways are importing a CSV file. Will automatically fill these, or you can paste a list here, click on the apply pasted, and it will change the values for you. To set up your CSV file, you will need to keep these values only. So you will need to delete the first row and the first column. Values will be read row by row. So this will be the first value, this will be the 10th value, and this will be the 11th value, 20th, 21st, and so on. For multi-line, this will be the first line, this will be the second line, and so on. So if it is the other way around, these are the rows, and instead of the columns, you can simply transpose them, copy, right click, and use this function transpose, and it will flip them for you. And then delete, 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 and once you're done, simply save as and CSV file. The last thing to mention about the values is the keyframe button next to each value. In this instance, everything is animating based on its value, but we can, after the animation, change that. So we can set a keyframe, and as you see, you will see a green keyframe. That means it has recorded the keyframe. Move along a little bit and then change it to the value you want to change to, and then click it again, and the value will change. Group settings can be found in the group subtab of the bars tab. The default count is 1, which means all one group. We will have 3 groups on 2 bars per group in this setup, and the spacing is 150, and the time offset between each group is 3 frames. At the moment, the font size is 30, and we have these labels. We can change them to anything we want. We can override these labels, and we can override the colors as well. We have a few extra settings that we can find in the add-ons section of the bars tab. Contextual bars or the background bars. The opacity is 50% here. Change it to whatever you want. These are dimension offsets, width and the height, and these are now animating separately at a different time. We can uncheck that, and they will animate all at the same time. And you can add a stroke, width, and change the color of the stroke. We can add an extra layer of animation using the bar position animation. This is the offset in X and Y, animating in from this position to its final destination, and then from this position out to this final destination. As you see here, it's animating from minus 50 pixels and will be animating out to 50 pixels. Lastly is the bar stroke, which has a width and a color properties that can be easily changed. Setting for line charts can be found in the Lines tab. It has 4 subtabs: Look, Values, Add-on, and Highlight. In the Looks tab, you can toggle the line on and off. Please make sure the bars toggle is off unless you want both of them on top of each other. You can have up to 10 charts at the same time, and the UI will update to have enough boxes for values. Let's go back to 1. Enter some values here. You can change the color, line width, smoothness. Let's create and we'll take it from there. So now you can see it has 0 smoothness. We can update that however smooth you want it. There is a limit before you start getting weird results. The lines can be dashed or dots. You can increase the gap. And we can have multiple lines per chart. Let's turn off the dashed and add 3, for example. This will be the first color, second color, and the main color will always be the last one. Let me quickly showcase that and update. As you see, the 3 different colors. Let's go back to 1 line per chart. We can change the animation from trim to position, and that will change the way the chart will animate. We can have per point, which is 10 frames for each point. Let's reduce that to something sensible. For the values, just like with the bar values, you can import CSV files. You can simply paste or change manually these values. There's an extra option for line values, which is slightly advanced. So this is for situations where you have you want to show more X entries than the values that you've been given for the specific line. And let me show you very quickly what do I mean by that. So if I create the line which has 20 entries here, but your values actually correlate with half of that, for example, and because the X spacing is 50, which is the space between each entry, we can customize the distance between each point entry at 25, for example, at this value. In the add-ons tab, we've got 2 options: point markers and the fill shapes. Point markers are the markers for each value. We have rectangular, which you can change the size, height, brownness, and the angle. You can add stroke, change the color and width, animate both the opacity and scale. You have the option to have triangle as well. Fill shape is the shape beneath the line that's projected towards the axis. So if we add that now, you will see how it animates. You can add a gradient to it and change the angle of the gradient. This is a vertical gradient. You can have horizontal one if you want. So if we turn the gradient off, let's change the color. So the opacity has been at 75%. If we can make it at 100. And let's turn off the feather. So now it's fully opaque. The feathered option will feather the line, and the feather can be along the line for specific looks. The last thing to cover on lines is the highlight. Let's give a quick example. This is the box to enter the values you want to highlight. For this to work, you need to go into the composition and select the layer, the fill layer. and click on highlight, and this will create two shape layers that are pointing to the value here. Because X and Y are selected, we have both. You can click one or the other. You can change the opacity with color if you want dashed or dots. If we can have that as well. And as you can see, it is creating the keyframes where the timeline is, and it animates out with the rest of the animation. Important point here to note is that you can highlight more than one value as long as they are separated by a backslash. And at the moment, this version can only highlight the values that were used to create the value. In later versions, you'll be able to highlight any point you want. The text tab covers all the text settings for bar chart and line chart texts in one place. You can toggle the text on and off, change the font size, the color, and you can add an offset. In this case, it's 20 pixels in the Y axis. This is the relative position of the bar height. At the moment, it's 100%. We can go to 50%, which means it will be right in the middle of each bar. We can have decimal points if your values have decimal points, and you can add signs to it. This is a built-in list of signs. You can have custom, and then you can add the custom whether it's before or after, depends on which side of the text it is. And as you see here, the text is animating with both counting and position, and you can uncheck that at any point. Lastly is the text box. You can create a rectangle with all these different properties, or a circle. You can create custom shapes. Let's delete this comp and create a random custom shape, and the custom shape needs to be a shape layer that is native to After Effects. So if you bring vector shapes from Illustrator, you need to break them down to After Effects shape layers. Once you're done, make sure the shape layer is selected, and then you can create the chart. One important note here is that the fill and stroke properties will be ignored. It will take the shape as it is. The last tab is the Styles tab. It contains all the presets that are pre-built into the code and custom styles that you built and save for later use. If we go to the preset catalog, it will open and you can see all the different presets. Let's pick the one with stroke, and we click on apply. The preset is loaded now. And if we go to all the different elements, they should be properly loaded. The only thing that we need to change are the colors, obviously, and the values. Now let's say we want to change it to a specific style, and we want to use it and save it for later. Let's do a few changes. Let's say we are happy with this one. We go back to styles and we type the name, whatever name, green sign post, and make sure you don't have spaces. Ideally underscore works perfectly. So now in this list, there's only style that I have saved before. Yours will be completely empty. Now we are adding this style. It will render a frame and save it in the catalog. So now if we go to the folder, the styles, you can see the new style. Change to lines, for example. This preset is loaded, so now the bars are off and lines are on. But if we go to the green signpost and apply it, Now the style is loaded. We go back, all the different settings that we had. And if done with a style that we don't want anymore, we simply click on it and delete. Yes, and this will delete everything for you.